There's Dingo in the tent.
Did you go to university, Greg?
Dingo's got the baby!
You can drink it.
God, no, please, God, help me. The Dingo's got my baby!
What?
A baby's cry pierces the stillness of the night. A frantic mother searches the darkness, shouting, "My baby! My baby!" But what could have taken a 9-week-old infant from her tent in the dead of night? This is the haunting mystery that gripped Australia and the world. On August 17, 1980, 9-week-old Azaria Chamberlain vanished from a campsite at Uluru, taken, her parents said, by a dingo. The phrase, "a dingo stole my baby," would become etched in the annals of pop culture, but behind it lies a real tragedy and a decades-long quest for justice. Uluru, the massive sandstone monolith in the heart of Australia's Northern Territory, stands as a spiritual and cultural landmark. It was here, amid the red desert landscape and under a canopy of stars, that the Chamberlain family set up camp, unaware that their lives would be forever changed by the events of that fateful night. Imagine the serenity of a family camping trip under the vast Australian sky, the scent of the outback in the air. Suddenly, that calm is shattered by a mother's scream, "A dingo's got my baby!" The Chamberlain family, consisting of Lindy, Michael, and their 2 sons, and baby Azaria, embarked on a much-anticipated camping trip to Uluru, the heart of the Australian outback. It was August 1980, and the red desert sands and towering monolith provided a breathtaking backdrop for their adventure. They set up camp, hoping for a few days of relaxation and exploration in one of the country's most iconic landscapes. On the night of August 17, 1980, the tranquility was abruptly broken. As the family enjoyed a barbecue with fellow campers, baby Azaria slept peacefully in the family tent. Suddenly, Lindy noticed something was wrong. Rushing to the tent, she found it empty, the sleeping bag askew. Panic set in. Lindy cried out that a dingo had taken her baby, a cry that would soon echo around the world. Lindy and Michael's immediate response was one of horror and disbelief. They desperately searched the area, calling Azaria's name, hoping against hope to find their daughter safe. Fellow campers joined the search, and the police were quickly notified. The Chamberlains reported that they had seen a dingo near the campsite earlier and were convinced that the wild animal had snatched their baby. Despite an extensive search, Azaria was nowhere to be found. The initial shock and grief of the Chamberlain family would soon be compounded by a legal and media nightmare that no one could have foreseen. Imagine standing in a courtroom, the eyes of a nation fixed on you, as you fight to prove that your child was taken by a wild animal. This was the reality for Lindy and Michael Chamberlain. The initial investigation into Azaria's disappearance was swift. Within weeks, the Northern Territory authorities opened a coronial inquest in Alice Springs. Magistrate Dennis Barrett presided over the hearings, which were the first to be broadcast live on Australian television. The world watched as the Chamberlains, still reeling from their loss, testified about that fateful night. On February 20th, 1981, Barrett delivered a stunning verdict. The evidence suggested that Azaria had indeed been taken by a dingo. He also harshly criticized the police investigation for its lack of thoroughness and objectivity. The findings seemed to support the Chamberlains' claim, offering a glimmer of hope that their nightmare might end soon. However, the public reaction was far from unanimous. The live broadcasts had captured the nation's attention, and opinions were deeply divided. Many people sympathized with the Chamberlains, seeing them as victims of an unimaginable tragedy. But others were skeptical, influenced by media sensationalism and rumors. Stories circulated about the Chamberlains' Seventh-day Adventist faith, with some accusing them of bizarre rituals and even human sacrifice. The media frenzy turned the case into a spectacle, with Lindy and Michael at its center, struggling to clear their names amidst a storm of suspicion and misinformation. The courtroom was packed, the tension palpable as new evidence surfaced that would turn the Chamberlains' lives upside down once more. Despite the initial inquest's findings, the Northern Territory police and prosecutors were not satisfied. Determined to uncover the truth, they launched a further investigation, leading to a second inquest held in Darwin in September 1981. This time, the focus was sharper, the scrutiny more intense. One of the most damning pieces of evidence came from ultraviolet photographs of Azaria's jumpsuit. James Cameron, a pathologist from the London Hospital Medical College, testified that the images revealed an incised wound around the neck of the jumpsuit, suggesting a cut throat. He also claimed to see the imprint of a small adult hand, indicating foul play. This analysis, combined with the seizure of the Chamberlain's yellow Holden Torana, painted a grim picture. The trial that followed was a media spectacle, captivating and dividing the public. Lindy Chamberlain was tried for the murder of her own daughter, facing intense scrutiny and prejudice. On October 29, 1982, Lindy was convicted of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. Michael Chamberlain was found guilty as an accessory after the fact and received an 18-month suspended sentence. The jury's decision shocked many, as the Chamberlains were thrust from grieving parents to convicted criminals in the eyes of the law and the public. Headlines screamed from every newsstand, "Mother murders baby in Uluru." The trial wasn't just in the courtroom, it was in every living room across Australia. The Chamberlain trial was one of the most heavily publicized cases in Australian history. From the moment the story broke, media outlets descended on the courtroom, turning the legal proceedings into a spectacle. News reports, TV broadcasts, and sensational headlines dominated the coverage, often focusing more on drama than facts. The intense media focus created a circus-like atmosphere where every detail was scrutinized, exaggerated, and sensationalized for public consumption. This relentless media barrage shaped public opinion in profound ways. Lindy Chamberlain, in particular, bore the brunt of public judgment. The media portrayed her as cold and unfeeling, deviating from the expected image of a grieving mother. Her stoic demeanor and the family's Seventh-day Adventist faith were highlighted in a negative light, fueling rumors and bizarre accusations, including claims of cult rituals and witchcraft. The trial by media led to a wave of public antagonism, transforming the Chamberlains from victims of a tragic accident to pariahs in the eyes of many Australians. Imagine fighting against the tides of justice, knowing you're innocent, but every door you knock on slams shut. This was the reality for the Chamberlains. Following the initial convictions, Lindy and Michael Chamberlain embarked on a relentless pursuit of justice. They filed multiple appeals, each one met with crushing disappointment. In April 1983, their appeal to the federal court was denied. The High Court of Australia also refused to quash the convictions in February 1984, leaving the Chamberlains with dwindling hope. While Michael struggled with a suspended sentence, Lindy faced the harsh reality of life behind bars. She gave birth to her fourth child, Kalia, while incarcerated. The family, undeterred, continued their fight from outside, rallying support and maintaining their innocence. They faced a world that largely saw them as criminals, a family shattered by both personal loss and public condemnation. In the vast, rugged terrain of Uluru, a grim discovery by a British tourist would change everything. In early 1986, British tourist David Brett tragically fell to his death while climbing Uluru. During the search for his remains, police stumbled upon a child's matinee jacket in a dingo lair, Azaria's missing jacket. This unexpected find cast doubt on the prosecution's case and the reliability of the evidence used to convict Lindy. This discovery led to a pivotal moment in the Chamberlain case. Lindy was immediately released from prison, and on September 15, 1988, the Northern Territory Court of Criminal Appeals unanimously overturned all convictions against Lindy and Michael Chamberlain. The family, though scarred by years of injustice, finally saw their names cleared, vindicating their long-standing claim of innocence. Despite the heart-wrenching struggle for justice, the story of Azaria Chamberlain was far from over. The battle continued through more inquests and revelations. In 1995, the Northern Territory held a third inquest into Azaria Chamberlain's death. Unlike the previous inquest, this one returned an open finding, indicating that while the evidence suggested a Dingo attack was possible, it did not definitely conclude this was the cause of death. The ambiguity left the Chamberlains in a legal limbo, as the mystery of Azaria's death remained unresolved in the eyes of the law. The case reached its conclusive chapter with the fourth inquest in 2012. On June 12th, Coroner Elizabeth Morris delivered the final ruling. Azaria Chamberlain had been taken and killed by a dingo. This definitive statement brought closure to the Chamberlains' long and painful journey for truth and vindication. Coroner Morris apologized to the family, acknowledging the immense suffering they endured over the decades. The Chamberlain case not only transformed a family, but also left a lasting impact on the legal and cultural landscape of Australia. Following the overturning of their convictions, the Chamberlains received compensation from the Northern Territory government, recognizing the wrongful convictions and the immense suffering endured. In addition, Azaria's death certificate was formally amended to reflect the true cause of death, providing the family with a long-sought sense of official acknowledgement and closure. The Chamberlain case brought significant changes to forensic procedures and the use of expert testimony in criminal trials. The flawed forensic evidence and misinterpretations that led to the wrongful convictions underscored the need for rigorous standards and oversight in forensic science. This case became a catalyst for legal reforms, ensuring more accurate and reliable evidence in future cases. The case of Azaria Chamberlain permeated popular culture, inspiring numerous books, films, and references. The most notable among them was the film A Cry in the Dark from 1988, starring Meryl Streep as Lindy Chamberlain. The phrase, "a dingo stole my baby," became embedded in the public consciousness, often referenced in various forms of media and becoming a symbol of the case's lasting impact on Australian and global culture. As the dust finally settled on the Chamberlain case, its ripples continued to affect Australian society and the justice system profoundly. The saga of Azaria Chamberlain's disappearance and the subsequent legal battles left an indelible mark on Australia. This case exposed the vulnerabilities in the justice system, highlighted the dangers of media sensationalism, and underscored the necessity of rigorous forensic standards. The wrongful convictions and the long fight for exoneration showcased the critical importance of due process and the potential consequences of public and media influence on legal proceedings. The impact of the Chamberlain case went beyond legal reforms. It sparked nationwide conversations about prejudice, particularly against those who do not fit the mold of societal expectations. Lindy Chamberlain's experience with public vilification and wrongful imprisonment serves as a stark reminder of the need for empathy and fairness in the face of tragedy and uncertainty. The Chamberlain family's ordeal is a poignant testament to human resilience and the relentless pursuit of justice. Their story is not just about a tragic event, but also the power of perseverance and the quest for truth. As we reflect on their journey, let us remember the importance of compassion, the value of a fair legal system, and the critical role of accurate and unbiased reporting. The Chamberlain story reminds us that justice must be pursued with both integrity and empathy, ensuring that the rights and dignity of every individual are upheld. If you would like stories like this, feel free to hit the subscribe button.